Welcome to our fourth plugin BizTalk. My name is Carolina, and I am thrilled to have the possibility to host today's event because I can already promise you it'll be a wonderful time with our used-to-be own Sonia Piórek. To maybe all of the new people who are joining here today, a couple words about Plugin, who we are and what we do. Plugin is an international community of Poles, basically living abroad, working in technology and in innovation. We create this community to share our achievements, to create a great space for all of those working in technology and innovation. And every year we organize Polish Tech Day conference, which is in a month. So if you guys haven't heard that already, go and sign up. But enough about us. Let's talk a little bit about our main guest here today, our wonderful Forbes 25 under 25, Sonia Piórek. She is currently a team leader at Team Esteem, and we'll talk about it in a second as well. She was to work in Plugin. She co-organized 2 editions of Polish Tech Day. She is also working at the Founders Institute, and I promise I'll have to stop now because otherwise this webinar will end. Sonia, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you, Karina, for having this conversation with me, like in old days.
Yes, like in old days. Sonia and I actually go way back, and we'll talk about it a little bit as well. So just a brief introduction today. We'll have 3 main parts. I'll do my best to give you the space to tell us how you made it to Forbes 25 under 25. So we'll first talk about your background, about the time that you were in high school, kind of the time where you were deciding, what to do, where to go to university, and a little bit about your professional career and the topic of today, so Forbes 25 under 25. But let's start from the beginning, because I remember you way back. And I know that you weren't, the typical high school student. Definitely not like me. You moved out of home at 16. You lived in a flat in Warsaw without your parents. You did a lot of volunteering. How was this experience for you? What did it teach you? Do you think it prepared you for your future journey?
It's good that we start from that point, because I think that this was a kind of a groundbreaking point for me for self-development. But well, actually, I think it's worth mentioning why I decided to move out. It's my parents live on the suburbs of Warsaw, and it's a really long way. But during my first year of high school, I didn't want to move out, even though my parents suggested it to me, because I felt that I don't want to live alone, because I really love people, and living on my own is alone will not be the right one. And during my second year, I found potential flatmates. So I live with 2 other students, and this is how I managed to get through this at high school. I'm a very human-driven person, and as you know as well, because all the volunteering came from the point of just me really wanting to get involved with other people and other projects and delivering a lot of goods. And it kind of ties up with my life motto of just saying yes to nearly every opportunity I get. And then after you say yes, you can always just think about everything else around it, and it usually brings you more benefits than saying no straight away. But it definitely gave me a lot. It's been an unusual experience, because I think recently some of my colleagues realized that when they were getting back home to eat dinners with parents, I was actually getting back home, preparing my own meals, doing my laundry, thinking about how to prepare my day for the next day, how to study, and so on. So it's been a really interesting one, but it's also about the trust and how my bond with my parents, how we just never doubted it's a good decision, and they never doubted that I'm gonna manage well and I'm gonna benefit, because I'm gonna optimize all the things I need to do in order to get the most and get to the point where I really need to be. So I think it's an unusual experience, but it can go really bad or really good depending on the whole environment you're in. And I hope that this gives somehow the answer to your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And you worked at this time, right? You worked at the museum.
So this is also a really good story because that's why what I usually do is I say that you never know where a single thing can take you. And the whole story with the museum, I actually thought about it last week, began with my mom. It's a really, really far away story. My mom giving me a piece of paper from a newspaper when I was still in like first year of high school, basically telling me, look, there's this foundation, I guess, educational community that gives classes and like scholarships for attending classes during the weekends. So I checked it out, and it's a really good. It's a foundation called by Bronisław Geremek, and they used to do, when there was funding, a lot of every week they used to do a class on Saturday for people that managed to get in with their applications on history or on philosophy. And I got in for the anti-discrimination and tolerance one. And there was a group of 12 people from Warsaw, different high schools, and it's such a diverse group. And there I met a girl from Chatsky High School, and she was one of my dear friends until now. And she, after we became friends, she found the classes in Museum of Modern Art of education classes for high school students if they want to learn more about exhibitions. So we went both there, and they had this program for like just for students. I went through the whole program, and then I said, wow, I really love this place. Like the exhibitions are amazing. So I started volunteering there, and I've been a volunteer there for 2 months over the summer. And after the summer, they basically told me, look, you're doing really well, and we want to employ you. And this was the point when I was still 17. I was the youngest employee of the museum and the only one under 18. And it's just amazing experience. I have so much appreciation and respect towards this institution as a public institution, giving a chance to a high school student, first of all, to earning your own money by doing something creative, because I was holding educational classes for children and sometimes teenagers, and you could go all the way you wanted. So the main point was to change the content of the exhibition into classes for the children so that you can teach them about really important matters in a fun way, and you get paid for it, and you get in this really cool community of people that also have really good ideas from different backgrounds. And I worked there for 2 years, did many programs, actually did then a closing program when the old building in the middle of Warsaw was being demolished. So we came up with this program in an empty building with all these windows, program with children. And I used to be treated as this very odd high school student working in a museum, doing exercises like filtering water through stones and collecting stones from the city and so on. So it's been an amazing experience. And again, like this Museum of Modern Art in Warsaw is one of the best places to just go and grow, because they give young people so many chances, and there's so much trust that I don't think that there's any other institution in at least Warsaw that gives so much opportunities.
It's amazing because I remember when we met, you were really passionate about that job, and it's amazing that you still are so passionate about this time. Yeah, how did we meet? Because I think it ties up with another question, which is a little bit more about university and the decisions that you've made. Why Scotland? Why go study in Scotland? How did that happen to you?
So as you recall, we both met at one of the meetings explaining. Well, I got into the discussion club where we met through
Right.
one of the meetings where people explain how to get into universities, both in States and in Europe. And then there was Gavel Club after, which is the discussion club held by Young Talent Management and BAS alumni, I think, as well. Yeah. And you know me already. People who watch it might not. So I really like to talk. And I like to talk publicly as well. So discussion club where we could learn how to speak publicly. It was one of the best things. So we met there, and we stayed there for until you graduated high school, and then until I graduated high school. And it's a great experience. It also helped me. Recently, we released in our project a video for sponsors and explaining our project. And I was holding a couple of texts in there. And it was just very handy for me, the whole experience of 2 years getting used to like people watching you moving, people watching you speaking. So it's a very good one.
Yeah. So you're really active throughout high school. When did the idea of studying abroad spark in you? Was it through the meeting, or was it beforehand, or did you know someone who went abroad, or was it just a dream of yours?
So I think that when we got to the discussion club, as you recall, I think more than half of the people there wanted to go abroad. And there's just so many opportunities to go. It's just that you need to have this community that will tell you about it. And I think this was a great place to learn about it. And it kind of gave me the seed of like, yeah, why would I stay if I can just go? And obviously, I actually have I have family back in London, and they, when I was a bit younger, like 12 or 13, my aunt used to tell me, "Oh, you should come to London to study. You definitely should move out of Poland." And I'm like, it costs so much money. Like it's ridiculous. The cost is ridiculous. And then obviously when we get to high school and we learned that not anymore, but Scotland, I think not anymore, but I'm not that sure. But Scotland provided us education without any fees. It's been just such a chance that I think that would be a shame to waste it. And actually then, so I got the idea from discussion clubs, but in my high school class, in my own class only, which was in public high school, not an IB class, there was 8 people that moved out for the education abroad. And we all got the ideas from different places. And we mostly, each of us knew someone, at least one person studying abroad.
Yeah, I think it's really important, because I believe there's a lot of young people watching us here today, to say that it's not anything, extraordinary. It's possible and it's doable. And I wasn't in an IB class, and I moved abroad as well. So what you're saying, it's just a question of a community that will lead you there. So tell us a bit more about the planning process. So you knew that you wanted to go abroad. What's next? How are you going to pay for it? I know tuition was at least for free back then, but it's still an expensive thing to do. So how did you work it out?
So we all have different ideas for it, right? We all have different situations as well. So I personally, I'm not from a family that can maintain my life here. So I agreed to the idea that the minute I move out from Poland, I need to just find a job and also just see how the finances work. And back then, I was also in a relationship with someone studying abroad, so it was easier for me to estimate the required sum to maintain yourself for a month, which I think that if you're really, you can easily fit under £1,000. So assuming that you can get some help on some scholarships and earn at least like £500 somewhere with your part-time job, you are fully able to maintain yourself. And Edinburgh is the second most expensive city for students in the UK. So we have a rent is a little bit lower than the London one, but it's still like if you study in Manchester or Liverpool or some other cities, you might have even lower rent, but the price, like the minimum pay, is the same. So you can work this all out, and also you can move a little bit earlier during summer, work more for full time in some kind of in some places. You can also take more difficult jobs, like in hospitals, that will pay more. There's many opportunities to get the money if you don't have them as a wealthy family. And I think it's really important to highlight, because I encourage my personal, like my family, so my cousins, and I got this question, it's like, oh, how I'm gonna find, I know, £5,000, 5,000 zlotys to pay for this. And it's like, well, you can, of course it's more difficult for you, but you can go to work and you can get there. And at the end of the day, you'll be really satisfied with yourself that you jiggled all of it and you organized it. And it also helps you organize your studies usually. And also, and what I learned, that if you are in England and you get to various universities, and if your family is not at certain level, you can get a lot of scholarships from UK government. Again, I don't know what is the current situation. It was like this back then, and many of my friends could maintain their lifestyle with like 10 hours of work every week because of the help. So it's 100% doable. And the whole planning of just moving moving out an application, you have obviously, you just watch 1,000 movies and video YouTubes of how to apply, how to do UCAS, and how to do your personal statement and all of this. And the worst, obviously the worst is just drafting the personal statement and hearing the word the first time is, oh, it's crap. You need to rewrite it.
It will be. The first one will always be crap. That's it. Yeah, but then the third option, you know, third version is great. That one you can submit.
Yeah, or the 10th one, or the 11th. Just
also depends. I think it's also important when you were talking about work that the workload at university is a bit different in the UK than in Poland. So it actually allows you to work, you know, part-time or even full-time if you manage to fit your schedule around classes. So the financials are definitely doable. And yeah, it did change a little bit with Brexit and everything, but it's still, I believe, doable to, you know, sustain your life there.
Really. Oh, absolutely. It's just planning, and also just in terms of the university, especially first 2 years are easier here. You know, like we both experienced it. It's just in Warsaw. Usually in Warsaw, I speak for Warsaw because I was living there, but obviously in Poland in general, I think that the first year of university is the sorting year. So they give you a lot of stuff, a lot of more difficult things and courses, so that they sort who will not pass. In here, it's more like the first year is to make sure everyone has the same level of knowledge. And it's also a time for young people to live their life. And I think it's actually very fair point that, you know, people in the UK sometimes come to you when they're 17, 18. And it's also their first time when they move out, it's the first time when they live in student accommodation. And it's important to not only like learn the courses, but get used to like living on your own, socializing, sorting what is important or not. And I think that the UK system assumes like accounts for the social parts of life. Like they all don't only think about, oh, you need to get this education, that's it, you need to have certain number of credits and that's it. They actually think, okay, like the first year is for this and this, and for second year you can have a bit more knowledge, but also you still can have your life. And then obviously third and fourth is like, now you need to kick in and to prove that you can get the degree and have the qualification. And I really agree with it. And during the first year, you can also, as an international student, polish your language, you can find contacts, build your network, get a better job, get the job is remote or whatever. And it gives a lot of opportunities.
Definitely. And I think the support system is also different in the UK than, well, again, I've never studied in Poland, but from what I've heard, there's really great support system in the UK. So in case you are struggling, there will be people you know, there to support you and to help you out with the financials and with the coursework and language and everything. So this is also great about going abroad.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks very much for that background. Let's move on to, you know, the juicy stuff, or maybe not yet, or depends what you consider juicy. Let's talk about plugin, because you spent a long time in plugin as well. Again, we worked together for a couple of years there. How did you find out about plugin?
It's actually a quite interesting story. So, I mean, it's not interesting at all. It's just peculiar. So I remember after my first year, again, I know all these things now about university here because I went through it, and I literally had my last exam this year, graduating. And so I didn't know that the first is going to be so easy, and I didn't know what are the assumptions that the system makes globally. So I came to uni and I was expecting quite high expectation towards students, which were not there. So I ended up being quite bored. And again, yeah, I'm a very active person. I get involved in many things, and especially something with people. I thought that in my personal case, I quite struggled to find people that I could relate to during my first year in my university. So I didn't have many people that looked for the same things in life and had the same mindset and so on. So I started thinking, okay, maybe I just need to get involved in something that will bring me the community I need and I want to be part of. And then I met with one of our, let's say, supervisors from high schools, from the discussion clubs, Mrs. Yola, and I told her that, being like, oh, I'm just going
Amazing
forward.
person.
It's a really good person and helping a lot. And so I basically said, look, I'm quite bored actually. I'm looking for more challenges, and I'm also back then I thought maybe I can just switch courses. What was there? And she just basically said, oh, look, there's this organization, and I think they do a lot of cool stuff that you might be interested in. So I went through the recruitment and got in there as an executive assistant back then, which actually gave me a lot of knowledge about just how to like run stuff and keep stuff and so on. And all the meetings, and getting used to remote working before it was trendy.
Right.
And then
Very
obviously,
helpful.
yeah, and then we met again with the Polish Tech Day.
So what do you think Plugin gave you then? Did you look for the sense of like Polish community as well, or was it more just an interesting thing to do?
No, it definitely wasn't just like Polish community itself. It just was a group of people that by default was interesting. And I also thought, what I actually struggled with, so this is a serious thing for me, is that obviously when you move to the UK, you have all these conferences like Poland 2.0 or
LSE, Economic Forum, all those conferences.
And a lot of these groups. And I was discouraged personally from joining to them, because I met a couple of people from the really prestigious universities in the UK and got judged by not attending a prestigious university. And I really didn't like it, because I don't think that it matches my value as a person and my knowledge. So I thought, this is not like, I just thought that I might meet more people that would judge me this way, and I just really didn't like it. And I didn't find it in Plugin, because Plugin is mostly professionals. It's just mostly people that already work or are in the industry. So it was, first of all, it's obviously benefit of asking a lot of questions about industry and getting a lot of information about industry and how it is to work as a person from Poland, not in Poland. And so there's actually a lot of potential for legal stuff and so on from people that you trust. But it was mostly just the cool stuff that they do and the openness. So I quite quickly went through, and it gave me a lot of, I think, support in general, and it's like just openness to what you want to do and the opportunities again. So
Right. Again, do you think it gave you like, pardon me, do you think it was interesting for you because of the tech and innovation aspect as well, maybe, if it wasn't for the Polish community?
I think it was obviously, I mean, just connecting with people in general. Again, they don't need to be Polish, just that these were really cool Polish people. But we do happen sometimes to have some more CEE region people or British people that cooperate. But definitely tech and innovation, and like so many startups that you come across, and people that do, I don't know, Level 39 or other companies like this that are in the ecosystem that are really cool. So it's also an attracting factor.
All right. And how about esteem then? Where did this come from? How did this appear in your life? Tell us a bit more about esteem in general. What do you guys do? It's so interesting, as I've watched all the videos, but I'm not sure if our viewers also have. So if you can tell us a little bit more about what esteem is.
Esteem is one of the best projects that you'll ever see.
I'm sure of it.
Of course, like this is just my punchline ever. It's just the best thing ever you'll see. Esteem, first of all, it is a student project, right? So we are a team formed in order to participate in Solar Decathlon Challenge Middle East. And solar decathlons are competitions that are held around the globe and challenging people to design and build sustainable houses. So this one Middle East is the one in Dubai that you need to design a house powered solely by solar energy. And it needs to be sustainable. It needs to be like the house of the future, featuring all the things that we want to see in these ideal houses. So we started technically due to my faculty member, my head of my program, because she participated in the 2018 edition in our Dubai campus, and she came back being like, look guys, there's this really, really cool project. I think that you really should get involved. And her pitch was really good. And again, it was our second year. I was doing plugin for some time, but again, there was nothing that in tech in particular or something more technical that we could get in. So the minute we heard about it with some of my course mates, we were like, this just sounds ideal. It just sounds like a perfect place and space for our creativity, but also theory applied in the industry or theory applied in practice, because all we learn in our university, which is construction industry university, like most of our courses, we specialize in construction industry. It's like, this is perfect. And so we waited for 2020 edition, and we set up the team in 2019 in March, so over 2 years ago. And it was a couple of us thinking we can really, really do it. And then it just quite organically grew. And yeah, it just grew and grew and grew, and it just didn't end until now. And it just got to the point where we are right now producing the panels for the house, and we are going to start assembling everything, putting all the elements together, and thinking about assembly in June, so that we can build the house in June, and then obviously disassemble and pack it and send it to Dubai. So the whole thing evolves around building this wonderful house that features, in our case, we feature the best, like Scottish timber, like the most innovation in the materials, the healthy materials, the things that like the occupancy, the behavior inside the building, how it adapts to the climate and so on. It's just obviously I will not talk too much about it, because not everyone wants to just hear about houses and sustainable housing and affordable housing.
Personally, I'm fascinated, so please keep going.
I mean, we can really easily, I can get from sustainable housing to urban planning and social issues, but I'm not going to do it. In general, and in this team, it started with like 10 people, I think, 10 of us, and most of the core team still stayed. So I'm still working with colleagues that were with me there at the beginning. And it's a very much something that we all own. Is this project that everyone puts so much heart and tears in it, and grew so much that we had no clue what we were doing 2 years ago. And right now we answer so many technical questions, soft questions. We got to the point when we have over 35 companies that we collaborate with, that either sponsors or supporters or people, like different relationships that we maintain all the time. We maintain during pandemic. Esteem is also our motto is just pride in where and how we live. And we have a wonderful marketing team, absolutely amazing people that we've done so many social campaigns about just healthy eating, about exercise and outdoor living, about being together, especially during pandemic, and finding your routine in there and finding yourself. And we try to also keep ourselves busy instead of just working all the time in front of screens. We try to have online socials. And we just feel that this project is obviously companies and startups work on their own, but this project not only features something that is very much feasible for everyone to produce, it also features a teamwork that is more about just delivering a product. It's a teamwork that showcases the sustainability in our work, like social working, in us like working together as a team and in growing. And it's obviously I can talk about it, because it's been over 2 years of my work, and there's so many of us as students. It's tough to say, but if you were to prioritize what to do, either a coursework for uni or stuff for Esteem, obviously you would choose Esteem, because it's like your product and your baby, and you really want to make sure that it works. And you just learn so much, and all the knowledge I have, it's pretty much from this project. And yeah, again, I just can't wait for this to stand finally. And many things, like sometimes people compare it with other student teams and other student projects. The difference in here is that we don't run yearly, like annually. This is something we built from scratch, and we just, with support from university and from companies, we just grow. And it's just incredible. Okay, I'm gonna stop now.
No, I'll keep digging. Where did the idea come from? Because you're sitting there with a couple of your friends, and you're like, let's build an amazing sustainable home.
Pretty much, the competition has its rules. So, I mean, right now we think about competition, but the house is just more than competition. So we want to feature it after that in Dubai campus, use it for exposition, and again take this idea of sustainable home produced in Scotland and adjust it to really hot and humid climate later on in the future. But the competition itself has a couple of rules. There's a certain amount of power that you can use that you can't exceed. There is certain criteria for indoor living. There is certain criteria for temperature that needs to be inside, and so on. So you literally you sit there and you think, okay, what do we need? Obviously, you start with like branding and people that you want to get involved in, and it's like, okay, floor plan, and it just starts. But no architects in the room. We don't have architecture course in my university, so there's just a bunch of people soon to become engineers, then just think about how to put stuff together and how to figure it out. And I think it took us a couple of weeks, and we had like different designs and so on. And we are really, really happy with our current one. I think it's a very efficient and optimal and easy to produce design. And it's supposed to be a single family house, easy to replicate and easy to extend with different modules. So it's just the brainstorm.
Right. So it was mostly focused on the competition, and then it just grew so much beyond it. How do you find time to, I don't know, sit down and read a book? You know, you're working at Esteem, you're studying, you're working currently at Founders Institute, which we'll move on to very soon. So how do you find time to do something for yourself?
I mean, it's a tough question. So there were periods. There are easier weeks and tougher weeks. I personally, when I've taken up I've done different things in Esteem, and I started so-called leading the team from September. And I think that in my case, my role was the most extensive in the first semester in the middle of between the years, so 2020 and 2021, because we just started building on the structure and people, and currently, so let's start from the beginning because I can easily just drift away from the topic and the question that you've asked me.
From the top.
So in terms of time, sometimes it's just not easy. So there were weeks that, I mean, I don't have a day off. So let's start with that. I don't have a day when I don't need to do anything for something. And it is from September like that. And I think I finished university just now, and I do plan to have one day per week when I don't need to do anything.
Crazy.
But it's been quite a while. But I think that for me, the university was kind of the least on the priority list, because it's just that I've already also worked in the industry already during my third year. So a lot of stuff that I learned in university were kind of overlapping. And as team is, again, we are all just so passionate, and me and a lot of our other sub-team leaders, we put 30, 40 hours a week in there and it's wonderful to see it grow. So you don't feel that drained because it's just something that you love. And then on top, I need to work, but my work in FI is just, again, another thing. I just think I'm a very lucky person. It's another thing that is really, really wonderful, because I really enjoy working in there and I learn a lot, and people are adjusting as well to me as I am to them. So if I had a really tough time and I had a really big submission in December university, my company said, okay, just take a couple of days off and focus on it so that you can, do your best. So I don't have, this strict policies. And then also it makes me want to work, because I feel that not only it's beneficial for me, I feel appreciated, and the whole teamwork works really well, so that you want to input like 100% and 10 into it. And you also get some projects that are your own. And again, it's way easier to work something that is your own, and also see that this is like real application in the industry, or it's used straight away. Again, in university, like you submit coursework and it's like, it's yours, but you feel like, okay, someone's gonna check it, you're gonna get a mark, and that's it. So I think that I had the least energy to do university stuff, and I don't think that I would be able to do any of this if I would have to commute anywhere. So the lack of the lack of traveling to university, the lack of traveling to my workplace, it gave me extra hours which I could spend on cooking a dinner and sitting with my friends, or having 2-3 hours in the evening sometimes to just chill with my flatmates.
Right.
So I think it's just because of this. But again, like, don't get it too optimistic. Working in front of your screen all the time has really big negative effects. So I'm trying to go for walks, and I think that saves me.
Was it because of COVID that you did it all from home, or was it primarily remote work?
So my work at FI is only it's remote work, because the headquarters are in California. There's one other office in Bulgaria and Sofia, and there's a couple of us working all over the globe. So it was remote straight away, like from the start. And then as team and university became remote because of COVID. And in as team, we just kept working, because we obviously in summer there wasn't anyone really in Edinburgh because everyone went home, and then COVID again started, like all the restrictions from September. So it was COVID, and again it's a dreadful thing, but I was just happy that I didn't need to commute anywhere.
Well, it was good that you managed to actually cook dinner. But do you think that your experience at Esteem then pushed you toward, Founders Institute? Because it's a pretty prestigious place to work at. Or was it the other way around? Or do you think it wasn't connected at all? How do you view it?
It's completely not connected, like, at all. So I think that what is my maybe it's an advantage, but I think it's a curse. It's that I never know what I want to do, and I found during my not so long 22-year-old life that I just get bored with things quite quickly. So the same was with my degree. It's like I really like buildings and I really like working with them, but I don't think that I could have a full, like, just work professionally for my whole life sitting in an office doing it. So I actually, at the beginning, I considered not doing masters, which I'm actually doing, not doing masters in the course and degree, because I want to do master in something that will be more useful for my future career, which clearly, again, will not be in solidly buildings. And after the third year I've done in university, I was set up with 2 paid internships, all good, literally like lined up day to day, with like overlapping with my September university start and my end of exams and so on. And everyone was like, oh my God, I just need to have both of them done. Both were really good companies, and obviously COVID happened. So both, like, one was deferred and the other one was cancelled. And I was just sitting in my, obviously back then we were delivering the remote version of Polish Tech Day. And
Right.
I was working on some deliverables for Esteem as well, with everyone. And how it started is that Paul Braga, which is, if he's watching, I would just like to say thank you again, was a person that just shared on his LinkedIn that they're looking for interns in his VC funds and similar. And I just sat there thinking, like, geez, like, this sounds amazing. Like, there's just, it's a great opportunity, and it's just, so again, it's a little bit different, but I do have some kind of experience and knowledge. So I just applied. I was just like, just why not? Again, why not? There's nothing wrong that can happen out of it. And we just got
Very
in
true.
touch. Exactly. We just got in touch with Paul, and Paul is an amazing person, very open and very motivated, with so many achievements and knowledge to share. And this is how I kind of found my way towards the Founder Institute. And we just really liked each other, and they like me and I like them as a company. I think that they have great ethos, and they have really great points to achieve in the future in terms of impact, and how, VC and startups can deliver impact in the world. And the only thing how it, like, overlaps with my work at Esteem is just how the learning curve of, like, how to fundraise, how to pitch your ideas, how to, like, all the soft skills that you need in relations. So I definitely do apply it in Esteem, and I try to share what I've learned. One of the things that I learned in there was just the power of recruiting and scaling. So, and this was an issue that we struggled for a really long time in Esteem, that we love the idea, but there was not many people that want to work in a student project that is, like, it's a non-paid job. Like, no one gets paid for it, and you put like 30 hours a week and no one will pay you for it. So we really struggled with people at the beginning, especially, there was no, you needed to create everything from scratch. So if you don't really believe in it, you will not do it. And after founder institute and all the things I learned, it's like you just need to have all the roles that you really need. You need to have the right people to do it, because you are not able to do everything yourself. And you also need to trust people that you work with. And it's very important to not to acknowledge that even if you think you're right, there's many occasions that you're wrong. And you really need to work with people you trust to navigate you through the things that you're wrong in. And we just expanded our team from in the last couple of months. We really expanded, and I have wonderful people now. I always had, but it's just more of them now. And I think that we really all trust each other, and we have great ideas, great knowledge that we share. And I'm actually laughing because sometimes people, I feel like I'm asking to join some meetings in my team, and I never want to give them impression of like supervision, because I just want to learn. I just really want to learn. And I keep saying, it's like I had a discussion with my marketing head, and I just always tell them, it's like I always can have my hints and my like what I think, but it's mostly you, that we just need to have a coherent idea, and you guys know so much, and I really want to learn. Because there's, in this kind of space, when it's a student project and not a company, you can take the risk of okay, I just need to learn this. I just need to see how it goes, and I can trust that there's no hierarchy in terms of who knows more, and like, who is paid more and so on, because it just doesn't exist. We all are equal, and especially it comes with knowledge. So we all have different knowledge on different areas, and this is perfect space to ask for exchange it and to grow. So I think that I take a lot from founder as well, where again, I was as an intern, so technically someone from the bottom of the ladder. So cool. I'm just laughing because it's just so not true. So I feel I get trust, and I feel I get a lot of my own areas to manage. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I think you said a lot of important things here. First of all, that yes, you can't do everything yourself. I think it's an important lesson to learn. But it seems like you've had a lot of great opportunities to explore teamwork, and you're a great leader. So that leads us very smoothly to why we're here today. So the Forbes. How did does the process look like? Did you expect to be nominated? Did you apply? How does it look like?
Okay, so the whole process for the Forbes look like that. They announce it, and you need to apply. It's not something that they find you online and think this is the person that's randomly gonna nominate them. No, you need to apply. And actually, so how I applied was that during I had a really dear friend she's also amazing, does her own soap company, and with her friends, and she's very self-motivated. And we got this self-development day when we just focus on what we want to do with our lives. And I personally, back then, I really wanted to find sources to finance my master, because obviously I would need to pay for my master's at a different university. And I'm like, well, I don't really have so much money sitting there just to straight away spend on a degree. So as many people, especially international, we look for sources to fund ourselves. And in the search, again, the Forbes Award came out, and I'm like, well, I know people that got it actually quite well, some of them. And I thought, well, there's no point in, again, not doing it. And my friend was kind of like, yeah, just do crazy stuff. Let's just put your application through. And so I put it through, and there's like a couple of other steps to do. So I ended up being featured there, which is really cool. And it's it's quite it always feels weird. For me personally, it feels very peculiar because for a really long time in my life, I always felt that whatever I do, it just don't make sense, right? It must be something wrong. And I always was dissatisfied with my things. After also not being I didn't link and sync with people in my university at the beginning, before I found Esteem and before we started doing it. So I thought, no, maybe it's just, I just went to different worse uni, so-called, and it gives me, just worse experience, or I'm doing something wrong, or there's so many people doing so many just better things. And I think in the past year, you just start realizing it's like, shit, like the things you do are really, really cool, are really impressive. And your
Yes, they
whole
are.
work, like the whole work that you put in is just so much, it's just so worth it. And so it grew on me. And what I want to aim of it is like, if if you are like 18 and you think, oh, like this doesn't look okay, like I'm probably not gonna get in. Probably not. It's just there's no point in thinking like that, because first of all, applying doesn't hurt you, and it's literally the same what happened when I applied for Pulse internships, because I thought, well, I might not have qualification. I don't study economics. Does it matter? No, absolutely not, because I'm smart, and it's like I can pull it through, and I think it's this amazing experience, and I can really add to it. And by the way, there's a study that says that men are way more they tend to apply for jobs without any qualification for it way or more often than women, because women first try to find all the qualification that she has and make sure that it matches, and then she applies for a job because she's afraid that she'll be rejected, which is like, why? Just do it. And just thinking, I remember back in high school, and I actually learned that recently. My friend told me, oh, they were all applying for really good unis, most of them got in, and we are like, oh, you were so stubborn, like you were just so stubborn on your ideas. And I was stubborn. I'm really happy with my decisions. But in the meantime, the feeling of like, oh, there's like other people definitely do better than I do. You know, other people definitely are further than I am. It's just not the right mindset. And there should be someone in your life that really tells you it's like, that's not true. And you need to be yourself. And if you think that there is something that interests you, just go for it. And the worst thing that can ever happen is just that you will just not be accepted. And again, it's nothing bad, and it's a part of the process as well. So
Definitely. No, 100%. I sign up with both of my hands under that. Just own up, own your success. That's it. You're doing amazing things. And the only thing that you need to do is just own your success and actually believe that you're doing such cool things. And I'm really, really happy that you did,
yeah,
and that you gained this confidence and, applied, because hey,
yeah.
worst thing that can happen, is that you're not going to get Forbes 25 and then 25. And how many of us are there that didn't? So
A very important note on this is just remember that there is no one out there that will believe in you as you can. Like only you can believe and force
yeah,
yourself to do things, because no one else cares so much about yourself as you do, or at least as you should do. And you can have amazing friends, but again, if you're stubborn, you will not be talked out of your idea because you are just like so stubborn. That's why it's important for you to reflect on yourself and think like, what do I think about it? Or am I right in thinking that this is not right for me, and so on. And I don't think that it's talked about often. And I also think that many people, especially young people, we tend to showcase our life in like such a bright colors that you feel, okay, well, if my life is not in such bright colors, and um, I'm really happy right now with myself and like with all the things I've done and all my experiences and so-called achievement, if people want to call it this way. Definitely I call them achievements from in my own life. It's because it took me some time, but I like what I do is because it gives me fun, like it gives me satisfaction, and I feel that I'm playing my role to the society, and I'm doing something great for myself. So, and I think it pays off. This is literally what pays off. It's like if you do things that make you happy and you don't do things that will make happy other people, this is the key.
absolutely. I just have a couple more questions for you. But if you guys have any questions to Sonia, type them in the comments and we'll make sure to ask them. What's next? What's next for you? Tell us.
It's funny. It's honestly such a funny question because it changes every month. So what happens is that half a year ago, I will tell you what happens is I graduate university, I go for a year to travel, and like I finish the project. Obviously, we finish in December next year, let's say. We deliver this, and then I give myself quite a huge break to think exactly again, to reflect on myself and think, where do I want to take the things that I've achieved until then. And it just completely changed. I needed to cancel my internship this summer and ended up being very soon working full time in FI, and again delivering the project. So for now, what's happening and what's the future for me is it's working with the Founder Institute and the programs we have there with the VC Lab, and again working in Esteem. And what will happen in the next couple of years, I can't answer this because it just changes so often. But definitely, it's going to be something that is going to bring me fun. It's going to bring me satisfaction, and it needs to involve people. And I really, really hope, of course, the pandemic is off, and I really hope it to end, because I think that there's nothing that can alter face-to-face meetings and the energy that you can give to people. So I think this is my hopeful future, to actually be able to work with people in face-to-face.
Fingers crossed. We have a question from the audience. So do you think that a famous university actually matters? It refers back to what you said a bit earlier about the student conferences. Do you think it changes anything?
It's a tricky question, because yes and no.
Right.
I just think that if you think about this, there's many people that do end up in this like so-called prestigious universities that will be very similar mind and will have very similar, quite high level of knowledge and so on, and you'll sync with them quite well. I would say that what do not differ that much is the quality of study. Of course, it depends on the course and on the degree. Every university has degrees that they specialize in, and they will deliver better quality because they have more resources and more money and more funding for it. So we probably get better researchers and might have better equipment. It's all under a question mark, but it is a possibility that you might just get it. It will differ between uni and uni, and the prestigious universities usually get also more funding, so you might get more better equipment and so on. But they're also more often they have more students, and they sometimes don't care that much about students they have, and they are easier to give up on them if they have struggles. But yeah, in my case, it wasn't like my university is really great. Like it's a great university for construction industry. It teaches you a lot of very hands-on stuff, and it's quite flexible as well. And there's many experts and specialists, and we could have our project done there. We are building our house on campus in the next month, so there's space for us as well. It's a great place to grow, but I didn't meet people that I could sync. But on the other hand, I also know many of my friends on universities are higher in the rankings. They also didn't find people that they can sync, that can link to. So I think that it varies a lot. It might be worth it for the quality of education, or it might be worth it that you might find more people that you are similar to. It might not. It's again, it's like with high schools in Warsaw. Is you might go to better or worse one, and might just people there, or your particular teachers will be amazing. And this was why also I didn't care so much about prestigious university, because I went to high school that is, I don't know, currently it's like 20th on the list in Warsaw. It's not really like so-called great. It was really good when I went there, and but was quite just okay. And I found the most amazing people there. I have my friends from high school are one of my but really dear and true friends that I believe I will be friends with for really many years. And there are people that achieve such crazy stuff, and they all are just passionate about their own area, and it's really good to have conversations with them, because you just you feel very inspired. And again, that's why I was like, well, it doesn't really matter if this is a university that is interested in my area of interest. I'm definitely going to find people that I'm going to link to the same level, and it varies again. So I can't have a straight answer to it. I would just say that if you really care, if it's a prestigious uni, maybe care a little bit less, but you might end up being better here or there. It's always best to put your best efforts in. That's what I would say. It's always best to give 100% in 10 of you. Never go for an option that is that will just be an easy way for you. Always go for the best you can. And if you think that, oh, I really want to go, I don't know, to Oxford, but I don't think I will make it, this is not the right path, then you will make it. It's about just assuming about other people in different universities and their choices. So just don't project this judgment on other people. But if you can always make it to all the universities, and always just give 100% of yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. We have a couple more questions. I think you'll like this one. Do you think Forbes will impact your career? Is there a life before and after Forbes?
I don't know. I've seen some increase of movement around my interest of me as a person. So I guess that it does have a small impact, but I also believe that this is it's not a totally one-time thing, but it's not something that lasts with you long though. So I'm very happy that I got featured. I'm also happy for my project to get featured, because I think that we all in this team, like we all work towards it getting promoted, and also plugin, and also museum, like all the projects I get involved in. I'm really happy to popularize the idea and like just getting the word out about them and to the world. But I think that it will not impact my life to the point when it will just be life changing. I think that there are things that I do, like esteem or work in FI, or a lot of other volunteering opportunities and so on, that will bring me a change that can be very, very real and impact the whole course of my life. What I'm just looking forward though is maybe meeting at some point other people from the Forbes list, because I think that again, this is a good chance to meet people that are just very inspiring. And I always believe that it's good to get inspired by people and get the energy and feel like, oh my God, they just so many people doing amazing things, that I'm always just so positive about the future, because I feel like, oh my God, this person does this, and this person is passionate about that, and they release this product that delivers the change. And I believe that human can bring the change. So Forbes can be a step on the path. But I wouldn't say that it's just a life-changing thing. It's just really, really satisfying and really nice.
And that's important as well. One more. You say that Esteem is a company-like project, not a startup. Why? What is Esteem's business model?
So we don't have a business model, and we try to always say that so in terms of company-like or startup-like, I should say startup-like project, is because there's over 100 people. Like if you think about it, 100 people is like, I mean, you can have a small concert for 100 people. You can, in a restaurant, there is less than 100 people often. Like there's just the amount, the number of people already gives you an idea of like how much stuff is going on. Like we have 17 now sub teams and 2 focus groups, each of them obviously working on different stuff, but working also collaboratively. We also connect with university, and this is actually, I think, the thing that differentiates us from different companies, that we are not like 100% just us. We really need to work with researchers and with the university on a lot of things, and so a lot of legal stuff and procedures and so on. But at the end of the day, we want to deliver a product. There is over 100 of us and over 20 people leading this team and managing it. Thinking how to collaborate with other companies, how to get them to give us to help us and us to feature their product and innovate it, and think, okay, how can we do it better? So at the end of the day, we value like the budget we have, the money we fundraised, the money that we get in kind, for example, as well, and transfer it in efficient way with all our resources into a product that will be, for now, just inspiring for others, right? And we hope that it will bring a long-term change in the future, and it will be inspiring for other companies as well, and research facilities. But I definitely think that it's not a student society that has 10 people and just organizes events. Like it's not this scale. It's a scale of us going through currently like hundreds of documents, hundreds of drawings. Our last documentation was over 300 pages of descriptions and drawings of a single family house. There's so many technologies going in that we are like, I'm at the point when I don't know each member. Like I don't know names of every single member in the team. And I think that's okay. There are sub teams that don't know team members in other sub teams, because there's just so much work to focus on. So that's why I think that we are like, there's the financial side. There's also marketing side. So you don't only deliver the product like a factory. You also need to think, okay, how am I going to promote it? How am I going to fundraise for it? Is the materials we produce, the quality is good enough? Which, by the way, again, our sponsorship video recently, it's just top notch. So I always think like value, okay, it's kind of like startup mindset of, okay, I don't have money, so what can I do with no money, but a lot of potential and a lot of efforts. And you do end up finding the solutions. And again, at the end of the day, you showcase it and you turn up and you turn around the whole. It's like, oh my God, there's so many people. And actually this documentation is like, there's so many pages and there's like so many softwares we use. And yeah, I think this is why I think we are like a startup and not like a student project.
And still within the topic of esteem, you started a collaboration with companies and suppliers. And how does a student project initiate such a collaboration?
So we usually think, for example, right now, we are still looking for a company to give us the cladding for a house. And this is one of the most important parts of the house because you can see it straight away. Like you just see a house, you see the cladding. Like that's it. This place. And we did have a couple of options that we researched and there are people who are keen to work with us, but we really need to, we only take the products that match our ethos. So only take the products that were produced in a sustainable way, obviously with all the like certificates and so on, and only with the materials that we find healthy and sustainable. So what we usually do is we say, okay, do we really need this product? What we're going to do is going to research 20 companies that do it, right? And then we're also going to compare their ethos to ours. And then what we do is we are trying to avoid like cold emailing. So our sponsorship department, they usually give a call. So they give them a call, they explain the project, and then we can send the materials over. And then we just see how it goes, because obviously we at this point our competition is linked to Expo 2020, which is an absolute huge event in Dubai this year, happening every 2 years, that usually attracts 25 million people, like visitors, and it features 126, I think, countries taking part, featuring the technologies and so on. And our competition is a part of it. So the exposure of everything is just so high, and obviously the research opportunities and the whole description around it of like how it's sustainable and it's working towards the future, that we at the initial stages we just try to see if it matches with us, and then we can just proceed further.
Okay, last question. Back to the, how to start out. Question from the public as well. So if you didn't have all these connections and did not go to high school in Warsaw, where do you recommend young people can start? What association, foundation to contact? What would you recommend them to do and where to go to get help? How to start out to study abroad?
I think there's a couple of ways to do it. So there's something that exists and it's called Project Access. And this is already students from different universities that you can be linked with like as a mentor, and they give you a direct advice for free on your personal statement. And I think that many times the students just turn out to be your kind of like long-term friend and being like, okay, this is how we can do it and you can do it. And they're very supportive. So I think this is one way. The other way is like we did with the Discussions Club and Gava Clubs and the Oxford debates as well and so on, that you just have this groups. You can find them on Facebook, for example, and they might be in big cities. But we had this. I still have this friend. So there is a dear friend of mine who was from Białystok, and I remember that he used to come 2 hours in the bus to Warsaw just to spend 2 hours in our discussion clubs, to learn about like, oh, what are the options for me going abroad and so on, especially that he didn't have, this financial support and behind him to be like, oh, chill, I'm just gonna like, my parents are gonna pay for it. And I remember that he just put so much effort and he was always so positive, and he did find ways, and he studies abroad here in Scotland. So it's amazing to see. So you can, if you really, really want to do it, it requires probably just a trip to the big city and finding a group on Facebook that will take you. I think I think there are the two most popular ways to do it. However, what I also advise, because I believe that we are kind of scared of one-to-one contact. So what people tend to do is they're, oh, I'm not gonna like approach this person because I don't know her from anywhere. Like there's no introduction, so it's weird. This year I gained 3 friends of just messaging someone being, I think you do really cool stuff. Do you want to go and meet for a coffee? And I think this is the way to go if you really need something, or if you think that, and you can find someone doing it, just give them a message and just say, look, my name is X and Y, and I would like to do this. And I see that you are doing this amazing stuff. Would you mind just having a quick call with me, 15 minutes? And it will be very valuable. Or if I can give you an email. And people really tend to be nice. Like people tend to help, especially if you are nice and if you are getting with the intention of getting out of your way to do it and out of your comfort zone, and not saying like, oh, give me all your information, just saying, hey, I can just come by, I don't know, I can give you a coffee for it, or I can send you a nice chocolate over. Just give an offer and be like, it will be really, really helpful. And if it's problematic for you, I can change the time. Just make sure that you give this person this idea of, I just really want some help. And it's not like, give me something for nothing. It's just like, I'm a student, I don't have any money, but I can do whatever I can with my capabilities. And really, really, we tend to be understanding and tend to be helpful.
Absolutely. Sonia, thank you so much for joining me today, and all of our viewers. It was a real pleasure to be able to talk to you. Congratulations once again. Yeah, we're actually coming to an end, but before we end, I once again want to invite you all to Polish Tech Day 2021. Our team has been putting so much effort into creating the best conference that we can. You can register on our website. It's actually in 3 weeks, so make sure that you get your tickets, and it will be actually a great conference. So please go register if you haven't already. Sonia, thank you so much, and thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you very much. And if I just can say a couple of last words, it's I just want to say that if there's anyone from a team watching me, because I did link it on our company Slack, I just want to say that these guys are amazing. And if you see anyone with Esteem in their LinkedIn, they're 100% worth like hiring. And these are the most amazing people. And also the same goes to plugin people that work there, putting so much effort into making sure that everyone just like has this opportunity to network with other people, for the sake of just finding interesting ones. And thank you again for hosting me here. It's also lovely to share my experience.
Thank you so much. And you guys have a good evening. Thanks.
Bye.